Now, the Nasarawa state government says it remains committed to transforming the state's economy through innovation and sustainable growth. Governor Abdullahi Sule has intensified efforts to boost internally generated revenue by attracting private investments, expanding agricultural value chains, and improving the state's solid mineral sector. He says the administration is also automating tax systems and strengthening partnerships with development agencies to create jobs and increase productivity. Governor Sule adds that Nasarawa's strategic position near the FCT makes it a natural hub for trade and industry, a role the state is ready to fully embrace.
For more on this conversation, we were joined live by the governor of Nasarawa State, who is currently spearheading the lithium and agricultural revolution in the state. You're welcome, Governor Abdullahi Sule. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So now, unfortunately, everyone woke up to the Trump's tweet yesterday, and it will be inappropriate not to get your response on this. The designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. We also understand that about 12 governors will be investigated, and some senior judges and some traditional rulers. What do you make of this unfolding scenario?
Well, I think it's just unfortunate, and it's a process of governance. I live in the U.S. We sponsored congressmen, and I know how some of this system works. It's as a result of misinformation sometimes. While living in the U.S., in Houston, to be specific, you know, there were times we sponsored a congresswoman called Sheila Jackson Lee. And of course, she will ask us, what are the problems in your country? How can I help? Most likely, this is what happened between the congressman who brought out these issues about the killings in Nigeria. So most likely he had Nigerians living there, and he got information. Unfortunately, they got wrong information, and they are working with. I'm happy to see that Mr. President has committed to meeting with President Trump. And I'm sure, you know, we can resolve this diplomatically. You know, these kind of issues come up. They are not new. There are times where this kind of threats have been sent to so many other countries.
But sorry, just to get it in a concise form, succinctly, do we have a religious genocide in Nigeria?
Definitely not. Okay. Definitely there is nothing like religious genocide in Nigeria, anywhere for that matter. There are times where politicians and maybe perhaps other Nigerians, you know, out of their own frustration, you know, come up with statements similar to this, and they don't understand the consequences of those kind of statements. Living in Nasarawa, I knew we have had situations where they will say they are wiping out a particular ethnic group. We are killing so many other things. And in most cases, there is nothing like that. When you go to the genesis of the issues, you will see that it is not exactly the way it's being presented. Right. So there is absolutely no kind of, you know, genocide of any religion whatsoever in Nigeria. And I think everybody knows that.
All right, Governor, thank you very much for your comments on this unfolding story. We see how the government of both Nigeria and the United States is going to handle this going forward. Now let's move on to more of the topic that we're here for today. Can you talk to us a little bit about the current status of lithium mining and processing that's currently going on in Nasarawa State?
Thank you very much. I think the lithium mining and indeed other minerals going on in Nasarawa State, the only thing is that we hear more about the lithium because it is the gold of today.
Absolutely.
But in reality, you know, we are doing so many other minerals processing in Nasarawa State. I have commissioned a company that is processing tin. I have gone to another company that is doing lead. I've gone to another company that is doing zinc, you know, and things like that. But and then and columbite also, as a matter of fact. But you know, what you hear more is that of lithium, because as I said, lithium is the goal of today because of energy. So with the lithium, it all started, you know, with the reforms which we introduced to say that most people who are mining lithium in Nigeria should also, in Nasarawa in particular, should also actually process them in Nasarawa State. So with that kind of policy that we came up and established an executive order, you know, we are able to get the cooperation of most of the investors doing that. And that's what led to the establishment of the first, you know, company called Avatar, which today is the highest, is the biggest producer, you know, of lithium locally in Nigeria, producing about 3,000 metric tons a day. It was when those people, those investors came to Nigeria from China, you know, to come for the commissioning of that company. They saw the potentials in Nasarawa State and made a commitment that they were going to establish $200 million within a year to build another processing plant. So that's the plan that has been completed, just awaiting Mr. President's commissioning anytime also from now. And then now we have two that are going to come up of similar size. You know, the ones we are talking about, the two we are talking about are all in Nasarawa local government in the Udege area. And then the two that I'm talking about later are all in Kokona local government. One is in Aguada, the other one is going to be in a place called Amba. So we'll end up having at least four. You know, these are the major ones. But we have so many other smaller ones, you know, that are buying lithium from all over the place. They are not mining. They are just buying raw material from other ones, you know, and then they are doing what they call beneficiation. You know, so they are improving to do the processing and extract.
Your Excellency, we have a situation on ground where there is a gap between the policy papers to the public plate, where the macroeconomic reforms has been well established, but it's not been able to translate into the microeconomic realities of our time. And we've had interviews with leaders at the national level, and they said that there is a windfall at the subnational level. But I think they're saying that they're accusing the governors of the inability to transform this windfall into fiscal space, where they could have an efficient spending and actually reduce poverty.
Okay. I have seen
you have
that
a windfall now.
There is no doubt about it. And I personally have said that from the beginning many times, that we have seen, I don't know what you call by windfall, but we have seen increased revenue, you know, to all the states. And for Nasarawa, we do it a little bit different. Every time we have improvement in our revenue, whether it's IGR or it's from FAC, we actually even discuss it with the major stakeholders. When we had our refund, you know, paid by Mr. President, you know, for our airport, we invited everybody to discuss it and say, this is the money we receive, how are we going to spend it? So now, coming back to this so-called windfall that we keep hearing every day, you know, from people, what happened is that in Nigeria, you know, we used to share, before 2019, before the president actually came in 2023, we used to share anywhere between 590 billion to about 620, 630 billion. You know, that's the sharing that has always been done. Today, you will see that sharing has gone beyond 2-point-something trillion. You know, so over 3 times what it used to be. Now, what has happened is people keep saying governors, governors, governors. Now, how is that 2-point-something trillion being shared? You know, it is being shared, 52% of it goes to the federal government of that amount, 24% goes to the states, you know, and then about 20% now goes to the local government, and then the other deductions. So the 24% that has gone to the states, to the governors, has seen more criticism than even the 52% that goes to the federal government. Right. But it's fine, it's understood, it's not a problem. Now let me be specific, coming back into Nasarawa State. In Nasarawa State, you know, coming out to all the other issues that we have done in the past, Nasarawa, we didn't have any savings whatsoever. We were living hand to mouth. We were borrowing to do some of our projects. We were borrowing to pay even most of the things that we are doing. Today, since that improvement, we have not done that. We have done all the staff improvement, promotions that had not been done for over 9 years. We have promoted staff.
Right.
The improvement in the infrastructure, in health, you know, we have done that. With the withdrawal of the support that we used to get from the US government, today we are buying most of our machines for the hospital, either a CT scan, you know, or every machine that we require, we buy them directly from these resources. We are not borrowing. Every project, I have done more projects in these 2 years than I did in 6 years of my distance. Today, so sorry, in the first 4 years, I have done in these 2 years than I have done in the first 4 years.
Right.
Still, we are not borrowing. We are doing it 100% with our own resources. So, and then we go out, we are doing agriculture today that we were not able to do. Today we are one of the biggest states that are in real agriculture, not supporting farmers. Supporting farmers, we do it on one side, but we are going out there in addition to supporting farmers with their inputs and this thing, we are into the real agriculture. We are getting ready to start harvesting, of our 3,300 hectares of land that we are selling to all the paddy. We are doing it with our own resources. We didn't borrow. And then we now have savings. Every time I'm having a project now in Nasarawa, you will see that in Nasarawa, we have been able to get approval from the federal government that they are allowing us to touch their federal road, because it is their federal road, from Welcome to Nasarawa in Nyanya, all the way to outside this. We are doing it 100% with our own resources. So this is what you are seeing.
Right.
So it's not like we are taking the money and throwing it into the gutter or anything like that.
Governor, well, you've spoken about all the positive things that are coming to the state of Nasarawa and the things that you have been doing in the years that have passed.
Yes.
But now let's talk about the area of insecurity. We spoke earlier on and you said that lithium has become the gold of the day, which yes, it actually has. It's a resource that is very much coveted all over the world. Now, that and banditry that has been going on, what steps has Nasarawa taken to secure its borders from bandit movement now that you have this gold that is there, as well as an agricultural atmosphere that seems to be booming in the state of Nasarawa?
That's a wonderful question that so far nobody has asked and I have not answered. The two places I have mentioned to you where we have the biggest plants, the amount of armed robbery and banditry taking place in that area, nobody could even go to that area because of that. Today we don't have one bandit in that area. Because what we did, we invited all the communities, we invited all the security agencies, the traditional rulers and everybody, and took a decision. Today, with the support of the federal government, and the financial and logistic support from the state, we have established a super camp in the area of the military. We have established a school, where the civil defense are doing their training in the area. So we have also established our own local. It is in that area that bandits actually went to the house of the Odu traditional ruler and killed him because of the kind of problems we have. Today, there is no security threat in that particular area to the point where these two companies are operating. And these two companies have employed the locals in the area. Nearly all the low-class jobs are being handled by the locals. Some of the top-class jobs, you have maybe 5% of it being handled by the locals. And with all that, there is absolutely zero matter of insecurity in the area. Today, in Nasarawa, we no longer have this farmer-herder crisis, which we had in the past. So what we do have is kidnapping from time to time. With the boom in the economy of the state, with the revenue that has improved, with the economic activities that are going on, sometimes you have kidnapping, and most cases when you have kidnappings, you will realize that it's an internal thing. It's a member of the family that has told maybe kidnappers about somebody that is doing well and he is having money somewhere, and those are some of the investigations that we have been able to achieve. But when it comes to bandits in Nasarawa state, we don't have any. When it comes to the Boko Haram, we used to have Boko Haram in Nasarawa state called Dar es Salaam. It's an extension of Boko Haram. Today we have wiped them in that area. It's agricultural activity that is going on there. Mr. President came recently into Nasarawa state and actually commissioned so many armored vehicles, which we bought using our own resources, not borrowed resources, and so many other vehicles that we had given to the army, to the police, to the air force, and to the civil defense, who are managing most of our activities, and also to the vigilante groups that we have in Nasarawa state. So those are the kinds of things that you will see.
Okay, we have a report that lithium investments in Nasarawa state has hit $850 million. But people are still worried about the right channel of revenue. And some experts say that at the sub-national level, talking directly about the governors now, that they are still prioritizing more on recurrent expenditure.
Well, there is nothing you won't hear. And it is okay. It is normal that for us to continue to hear governors.
Have you been able to move to focusing on capital expenditure?
Let me even tell you one we have done immediately with this new company that is about to be commissioned. When the company came in, my background is oil and gas. As I mentioned earlier, I live in Houston, so my background is oil and gas. So I know about this, joint venture arrangement between the local companies and the IOCs. I was in Houston when they had so many of them. So for that reason, this company, I said, we want to have a partnership with the state government and the communities, and they agreed. So they now gave us, what you call signature bonus. The first signature bonus was $1.5 million. At the time, they changed it into Naira. It was at 1,600. So we took the total amount. So I say, all right, the first 1 million goes to the state government. The 800 will go dedicated to the community. And the one dedicated to the community, I set up a committee chaired by the Commissioner for Environment, and as the traditional rulers, the local, to come out with where do they want that money to be spent. They came up with their own program. There are going to be boreholes. There is going to be a town hall, meeting hall for them. There is going to be, solar lights in the villages. So they came up with that now took the entire 800 million. That's where we spend the money. The contracts we have been awarded, some of them wanted water, some of them wanted this. We decided to do that. So that's where the money actually went in that. In addition to the company is given scholarships now to go to China and learn the technology, as far as mining and processing is concerned. So that the company is taking care of that as part of their CSR 100%. Now the state got their own, and part of what we are getting, we are doing some of the things again for the rest of the state, so that the state, everybody can benefit, from the amount of the money. So this is what we do. So it is not like we take the money and then spend it on that. None of that money is going into free. In fact, even the scholarship that will have been recurrent, we have actually asked the company to now give the scholarship. So it's a company that is given the scholarship, not even part of the $1.5 million.
A lot has been touched in this conversation alone, and I'd like to ask you, Governor, if you will commit to publishing public timelines for major industrial projects, such as some of the ones that you have spoken about.
No, they are always published. They are always in the news. We are one of the states, in fact, it's one of the reasons why most of the World Bank support. You will see Nasarawa is part of the leaders. On NG cares, we have been #1 in the country for a while. On Akresal, World Bank has rated us high. We are one of the top 3. Is that the reason why you do that is because of the disclosure and because of the transparency that we operate. So we must continue to publish this, not only just what comes from the federal government, but also our internally generated revenue. When we came out in 2007, our total revenue for 2019, the total revenue was only 7 billion. Today we are over 30 billion. So we must publish that. So it is part of our disclosure.
Yeah, you were the former president of Dangote Group of Company, if I'm right, if my records...
No. Only Dangote is the former president.
Okay, now, because you have been in the oil and gas sector, we have a situation in the country where there's so much uncertainty. Just last week, the federal government announced 15% tariff on imported petrol. And we also have a situation where the union is at daggers drawn with Dangote Refinery, which is a major refinery in the country. What would you prefer as the way forward in this situation?
No, actually you asked earlier a question, and I know you wanted to say I was the former group managing director of Dangote. So that's what it is. But to correct it, Dangote was the former, the present, and the future president of the Dangote Industries.
Managing director.
Yeah, so I was a group managing director. Yeah. Okay, so now going back to your question. You see, every time you have that increase, it is transferred directly. It's like VAT. Every time you have VAT, it is transferred directly to the consumer. So when you are hearing about there is going to be a 15% tax, that 15% will actually be transferred automatically to the consumer, because the business owner is not going to swallow it. But the good news about that is that if you look at the price of petroleum products, since the coming of the Dangote refinery in Lagos, price continue to crash. So you won't feel the high impact of this 15% for a while. But on the other hand, the government will now see increased revenue. So that's what it is. So I think whoever plan it, you know, with a view, they saw clearly that oil prices are coming down, and then this, because it's 15% of a price. It is not a fixed amount. You know, so as prices are coming down, the value of the 15% also comes down, and that's the way it is.
So what's the way out of this, let me call it quagmire for want of words to use? Do you see any prospect in this oil roadmap for the country?
No,
in terms of the cost of PMS per litre coming down?
No, it is coming down. You know, that one is determined by so many other factors, and you have to understand it from that order. You know, oil is an international product, and it is controlled internationally on pricing. Even though we are local producers of oil, you know, we still go with the international pricing. So, as a result, it's not a quagmire. It is just part of the business that is there. So, issues will come up, and they will be resolved on their own. Nigeria cannot control price of oil because it's not ours.
Okay. Governor Abdullahi Sule, thank you so much for joining us live this morning on Daybreak. Thank you very much indeed. A very insightful comment there from you, and thank you very much indeed. We hope to have you many more times in future. And that's all we have time for here on Daybreak, and I'm Benga Ashir saying goodbye from me.
Please do keep it here on Arise News. The morning show is next. I'm Yolanda Robert. Goodbye.